If you feel like your life looks like this, hey, quick question. Yeah, what's up? Yeah. Sorry, one more question. Yeah, what's up? Last one, I promise. Then you, my friend, need to consider using Slack. What's up, fam? I'm your host, CMH, founder of StartupU. StartupU is an interactive learning space for online business owners. Before we get started, make sure you guys like this video, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and drop me a comment below. All of that tells YouTube, hey, I think this guy's doing a decent job. I would appreciate it if you could take 2 seconds to do all of the above. Okay, so Slack. Let's talk about Slack. We're going to continue our productivity series here, and I think that Slack is going to be one of the biggest additions if you're not already using it. Slack is a great job to kind of consolidate your messages so that you're not having to crawl through an email inbox to find back and forth dialogue, to not get disrupted in the middle of the day. If somebody has a question, great, Slack me. Don't text me, don't email me, just drop it on Slack and I'll get to it when I can. So it's like a hub for communication, specifically if you have a team. So I'd recommend it for those that have an online business because eventually you're gonna hire virtual assistants. It's 2021 at this point that I'm recording this video. And so we're in the middle of a pandemic and now most teams are remote. So I highly recommend it. I think it's highly unproductive to be knocking on people's doors or dropping in on them, what have you. It's an easy way to communicate quickly, but also have storage. It's like the seamlessness of texting, but the storage of email. It's like the perfect hybrid. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna show you how to start a new Slack account if you don't have one already, all of the basics and some advanced features. So stick tight, we're gonna cover everything right now. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do when you come to creating a new account is you're gonna put in your work email, right? So whatever that is, you're gonna create the workspace that you wanna create for yourself, or if you already have an existing Slack account, you can actually go here and just hit sign in. So when you type this in, what's gonna pop up, and I'll show you guys here, is you're gonna get this 6-digit code, right? So you're gonna take that code and you will go back to Slack and enter in that 6-digit code. And that's basically gonna go ahead and start your account. Now, I found this process to be a little bit, this is just me, maybe I was just kind of, going too quickly through it. But when I was trying to join a channel, I had to have their specific URL for their channel. They had a channel name and so on and so forth. I found that to be a little bit challenging, kind of getting used to having multiple workspaces that I was using. I found it to be a little bit challenging. So just a heads up for that. It might feel a little bit complicated. It did for me when I first started using Slack years ago. So just a heads up. It's not as hard. Once you get in, I promise it's not as convoluted or confusing. Okay. So when you get inside of Slack, here's what you're gonna see, right? You're gonna have the ability to make channels. I've already created a few channels here with this one. This is a brand new one. I just wanted to show you what it looks like from scratch, but there's nothing here, right? This is pretty much just wide open. I have added some channels already. Channels are gonna be for specific content that you're gonna be talking about, right? So if you do have a team and you wanna have one that talks about various ideas you have for the business or marketing strategies or just random stuff that you're bringing up or sales, support, tech, you can create whatever you wanna create. And basically, when you create your channel, it's going to ask you to invite certain members from the onset. So I did invite a couple members. I invited my business partner and our video editor, who's actually editing this video. Shout out to AJ. Actually added him and Kim to my business partner to this brand new chat workspace that I created. But what you'd want to do when you add a new channel is designate what it actually is, right? So if, let's say it is budget, right? If you want to have one for finance specifically, right? So what it's going to give you the ability to do is talk about what that is, add that there, hit create. Now it's gonna allow you to add people, and you can choose to add the people that are already a part of this organization, or you could add specific emails you wanna add to that. Now, the reason you'd probably wanna do that is if you had something that was more of privacy kind of thing, like if you're talking about specifically budget and there's certain members of your team that really shouldn't be privy to those type of conversations, you can absolutely do that. So in certain situations, like we'll have one, I'll show you my advanced board that we actually use for my real team that I'm involved with, not just this one we just created, but we'll use those specifically for like the leadership team, for example, or for our executive team, like those conversations about the team, about pertinent information. It's not really relevant for the rest of the team. So you could do that, or you could just add every member to your team. When you do that, all of a sudden now you've got a new channel, right? So here's this budget. So when you see that, you'll see that here we go. You can just click on any of these and look at all the dialogue that happens therein. I'll show you what dialogue actually looks like when we actually go to the real workspace that I currently use. The next thing is going to be direct messages. So I'm just going to give you the basic features here. So you can actually direct message somebody. So you'll see Slack bots telling you, hey, welcome to Slack. You invited somebody that it bounced because I typed in his email wrong. Probably should know his email by now because he's my video editor. Anyways, and then you'll go to another direct message where I've already said, hey, and I'm testing and this and that. You could add additional teammates if you want to add them down the road. So pretty simple, right? You'll see one thing here. When this is bolded out, so you'll see these are not bolded. When you see something that's bolded out, what you'll notice is that there's new activity in that specific channel or in that specific thread that you're a part of. I'll show you what a thread looks like here in a second. So that means there's new dialogue. So I click on that, great. As soon as I do that, what you'll see is it's no longer bolded out. So any of those new notifications that you have or things that might not be addressed to you specifically, you'll see the little red icon that you saw here a second ago when it showed my direct message, if it's directed at you, if you're mentioned specifically in that. If somebody says at Chris, at Chris, hey, this and this and this, then you'll also see it bolded out, but with the little red circle with a number next to it to show that someone actually mentioned you specifically. But if you want to check just the general conversation or discussion that's going on, new activities, you'll see that it is bolded out. So you'll know if nothing's bolded out, there is currently no new activity inside of the platform. Now, the next thing you can do, you have some various options here, all just generic keyboard and things of that nature, hey, and that's great. And you just type it in as such and communicate in accordance with whatever that provides. All right, so next you could go to your profile. You can change your status. So if you want to say I'm in a meeting, I'm commuting, I'm out sick, I'm working remote, or whatever the case may be, you can add those various things here. There's probably other options. I don't really use this feature, but there are other options that you can search for and add just to let your team know, like, hey, this is what's going on right now. I'm not currently available because I'm in a meeting, right? So they know that that's what's going on. Next, you can actually go to set yourself as away, right? So if you aren't going to be around, or maybe you cut off for the night or whatever, you can just say I'm away. You can also pause notifications for a certain period of time. So they give you a couple different options there. Maybe if you, at night, you set a schedule. So you, after 7 p.m., you're done. You don't want to be notified. You don't want, right? With text messaging, you're going to still get those messages. Maybe you get one that's just like, oh, I'm so stressed, now I can't sleep, right? So these are going to prevent you from that happening. So you can actually set a schedule at 7 p.m. I'm done with work. That's it for my work day, and it's going to be back up at 8 a.m. So you could actually set that for yourself. Now, you can go to edit your profile, which is going to give you the ability to add a actual profile photo, actual image. This must have pulled directly because I did not add this. Your name, you can change your display name. I am notorious, by the way, for constantly changing my display name, and my team's always confused, and I put little funny stuff in there for them to have a little chuckle at on a weekly basis or at least a monthly basis. What you do for new members of the team, if you have a phone number you want to add, you can add that there. You can add other things as well. Okay, so moving on here. You can change your preferences, right? So this is really cool, actually. And I haven't really fully utilized this. I'll be honest, I haven't really fully utilized this. But you can enable desktop notifications if you want to download the desktop app, which we're going to talk about in a second. There's different things you can do in terms of the appearance of your actual board. So like your sidebar, for example, you can show the things that you want to pop up. You can add that. You can change how they're sorted in terms of the order. Various options here in terms of the actual sidebar appearance. You can also change, and this is one of my boards, I actually have it on the dark setting on the app. You can change it to your dark, right? Or there's various layouts. So you've got your tried and true, the custom, or the standard rather. You've got the clean and the minimal look. There's all these different options here. You can change the way your messages come through, whether they're clean or compact, your full display name or just the display name. So there's a lot of options here as far as your messaging preferences. There's a lot of different things you can do. The languages, accessibility, audio, video, and there's some advanced settings as well. It's actually asking from a microphone, so you could drop recorded notes for your team if you don't feel like typing something out, which is a really cool feature. And then there's some advanced settings like how you type, different search options, and then some other options. So you can really cater it to what you want to do specifically, and that's tremendously helpful. Now, let's bounce over because I want to show you some of the advanced features that we use specifically for our workspace. So if you do add other workspaces, what you'll see is you'll just be able to toggle down with this menu here. You can either sign out, you can check some additional settings here. There's some stuff that goes on. I don't honestly use most of these. The analytics and the workflow builder, I don't use those. So that's going to be more of an advanced video, not for what we're doing here today. But we'll go to switch and we'll go to this is the board that is kind of the Mac Daddy. This is one we've been using for a long, long time. And I'm glad it went here because this is exactly what I wanted to show you. There are various apps that you can add, which is really, really cool. So you can integrate Zoom, you can integrate Giphy, which we always have fun with that with our team, adding different GIFs to certain things. 1Password saves your passwords. So there's a lot of different things you can look for, and you can actually add and search their entire marketplace for other apps. One of the things that's great about Slack is it does really seamlessly integrate. So with your email, with whatever you want to add, you can do those things here. And one of the things that we noted is that even with a free account, which is what we have even to this day, we still have the ability to add 8 different apps for free, which is great. You have custom integrations, you have all kind of different things you can do over here, which I think is tremendous, as well as then going into paid accounts, which I'm going to cover that here in a second. With paid accounts, you can add as many as you want, or at least a lot more than what you currently would have otherwise. So if you want to do that, you can look at your upgrade options. It's usually about $7 or so, or just under $7 for a standard account, and that's paid if you pay yearly, and that's per user. And then you have Plus and you have Enterprise. So there are different options. It'll tell you what exactly that entails. The biggest thing that you need to know is really the archived messages, right? Obviously, I mentioned the apps. That's great to have additional apps. I think 8 is probably enough. I don't think you're really starting out going to use more than 8 apps. It's quite a bit. But the big thing is going to be archived messages. So the benefit of email is that emails exist forever, right? They are what they are. They don't go away. You can constantly refer back to them, so on and so forth. With Slack, the problem is with a free account, eventually those will archive, right? You won't have that thread anymore. There might be something important that you talked about that just doesn't exist anymore because it got archived and you have no access to it going forward. So that is something that maybe is worth considering. You do get group video calls. We use Zoom, so it's not a big deal, as well as other Slack securely with other organizations. So I guess you can connect with other organizations. I don't know why you would do that. Again, for starters, I don't think that's really necessary, but that is a possibility. Okay, so you also see here, there's a little bit different than the first board we just created. So this will actually give you threads. So a thread is basically like if you have one of your channels, and you can see here there's activity in this one. Let's say that there's a conversation inside of a statement. So let's say I post something like, hey, what's going on with our new Trello project, right? And then somebody, rather than commenting just below that, actually replies to and creates a thread based off of that to kind of keep that organized. You want to go to your threads, and what it'll show you is every conversation that's involved with a thread. So you'll be able to see more replies here. Now the difference would be this. So if we go here, and I'll show you this, these are just one stream of consciousness. These are just one stream of thoughts. Now, if I go here and I hit reply in thread like that, like so, it's going to create a side conversation outside of the main thread that will then appear here. So if somebody replies to a thread, you're going to see that here. Any of your DMs will show up here. So if you have various DMs you're trying to find, you can go back and reference those here. And then any mentions or reactions, you can see we have fun with various GIFs and things of that nature. You'll be able to see those here under your mentions. And then any saved items, which I found to be very, very beneficial. If there's something that you save that's of importance, you can find that there. Then you've got a lot of other options too, where you can look at the various apps, channels, so on and so forth. There's also a place where you can look for your files, right? So if there's certain files you've downloaded and things of that nature, you can find those there, and that seems to be really helpful as well. Okay, and the other thing you'll notice here is you can actually add apps here as well, which we talked about before, so we don't really want to cover that in any more depth. And I don't think there's anything else that we haven't already covered, but I do want to show you this because I think this is really important. And I use this way more than I use the web version because I feel like it's just so much more impactful than what the browser version brings. So anyways, I'm able to quickly pull this up. I get notifications on my computer. You can turn that off or on if you'd like. And I think it's just very, very seamless. It's probably gonna look exactly the same to you. I don't think you're gonna see much of a difference. I just like the ease of access. I like being able to go to my taskbar here and be able to just click Slack and just pull it up. I can see if I have new notifications, and I can just address those things as quickly as possible, turn off notifications when I want them to be turned off. As you can see, my business partner wife and I have fun back and forth with our GIFs, and it's very simple to do so. So you basically just do a /, which will access any of the various things that you want to access as far as shortcuts, and then you'll put in Giphy, Recordify, Collapse, Expand. So it's basically like your command button is your / there. So I would do / Giphy, and then I would type in like, hello, this is what I want to send her, and then it'll just send a GIF that says, hello, you've got Mrs. Doubtfire here, so great, share. All right, perfect. So you can do a lot of really cool interactive things. Again, you could, if you did Recordify, record voice notes. There's a lot of things you can do here. You can attach files. You can share little emojis. a lot of things that are basically just standard features for various text functionality and stuff like that, as well as up here in the right-hand corner of every message, you can add a reaction to people's posts. So if I want to laugh at her little GIF here that she sent me, well, here you go. You've got all of your various emojis. I can laugh at that, or I can hit reply in the thread, or I can share it with somebody else, or I can add it to my saved items. So you've got all those accessibilities right there, as well as all of these additional under your little dot menu here. You've got other things that you can do in addition to accessing some of the apps in response to something that person said. So again, I like this. It's pretty much the same interface. The web version versus this is the app. The desktop app is pretty much the same thing. I just like the ease of access. If I'm being totally candid, that's the biggest benefit therein. Okay, the last thing I want to show you guys is the mobile app, because to me, this is really where we go take it to the next level. So you'll see here that basically it's your sidebar is your full display. So nothing is really expanded. You don't have an expanded view. You just have your sidebar where you can look at the various channels and the various direct messages that you have. The good thing about that is you have these options at the bottom to kind of hover that, so you can go to DMs, mentions, you can search, you can go to your profile, stuff like that. But what I've come to find is that I can quickly access this and just message people if I need to on the go. So if I have a quick break, or I'm in a meeting and I step out for 5 minutes, or whatever the case may be, I've got the ability to quickly communicate with my team using the app where I don't have to wait to get to a computer, right? I can just see what's going on. I can stay up to date. I can stay in the loop on what is going on. And I feel like it's seamless. Like, it's a pretty simple thing. There's nothing complicated about it. It's just a pretty straightforward app. If I want to create a new message, I can do that here, but I can also access all of my channels, threads, etc. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. DMs, mentions, as I mentioned, search for things. I can look at my notifications through my profile, so on and so forth. So hope this was enlightening for you guys. Again, I found this to be one of the most basic and simple apps that you can use, and it's 100% free of charge. I'll give you a full disclosure. Something I think is really going to help you out a lot is we like to stack Trello with Slack. So our general rule is this: Slack is for quick dialogue. Trello is for long projects. So if there's something that's going to be very nuanced, it's going to take place over a matter of weeks, a longer, drawn out assignment or task or something like that requires kind of keeping everything in one centralized hub, not getting lost in the threads on Slack, we typically will keep that on Trello, and we'll just nudge people on Slack to say, hey, I just tagged you on Trello. Make sure you go check that out. Trello is, again, free if you're not familiar with it. There's a video right here. You can check that out. But Slack is usually for just quick nudges. It's like, again, the merging of text and email, but all kind of consolidated under one roof. Okay, hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys have been enjoying this productivity series. It's important. It's almost pertinent. It's almost imperative that you like this video, you subscribe to this channel, and you hit the bell for notifications for more videos like this as we wrap up our productivity series. And give you a little hint here, my next video is my favorite productivity hack of all time. Love it, love it, love it. Engage in it often and pretty much weekly. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to make you guys stick around and find out what that is. But I'm excited to see you in the next one. Hope Slack works out for you. Talk to you soon.